Also, Friday is here. Hello there, good afternoon, and welcome to The Pulse. We are coming to you live from our studios here in Accra. We are on your digital terrestrial TV because we are free to air on DSTV channel 421 and GoTV channel 144. We are Joy News, independent, fearless, and credible. Coming up this afternoon, members of Parliament react to JoyNews exclusive interview detailing why Adwoa Safo has been absent from Parliament for close to 7 months. We bring you the latest from the lawmaking chamber, where the first deputy speaker is warning that sanctions may be applied if the embattled MP fails to show up before the House.
But what I can tell you is that the committee has formally written to her. We sent her a letter through her email address, through her WhatsApp number, and through her office.
Well, stay with us. There's a lot more coming up as we hear from residents of Dominic themselves who have been expressing mixed reactions and a lot of sentiment to the justifications being given by the Member of Parliament for the area.
We confided in her, that's why we voted for her. You understand? Why is it that the way and manner people trusted you, they entrust you and then put the whole constituency into your care, and you left the place and then go and stay abroad?
We'll get you the very latest from Dominic. Also in focus, Africa Education Watch mounts a strong case for accountability and an independent audit into the controversial $1.2 million Gallup training scandal. We have details of their statements, plus hear from the group here on The Pulse.
Advise the World Bank that if they expect civil society organizations to play their role in demanding accountability from their government, then they shouldn't come in and sign non-disclosure agreements with our government.
And this afternoon as well, we are looking forward to that busy weekend. Delegates of the New Patriotic Party begin elections for party executives in 16 regions of the country. That's all coming up right here on The Pulse as we get you the latest from some parts of the country where polling has closed. I'm Blessed Sogah. As always, The Pulse is brought to you by Global Communities Digni Lu, affordable, safe sanitation. This afternoon, don't forget that we're streaming on all of our social media handles. It's at JoyNews on TV, also on YouTube. Personally, you can tweet at me at Blessed Sogah. Welcome to The Pulse. Well, so this afternoon, we're starting from Parliament. The House is sharply divided over calls for the resignation of Dominic MP Adwoa Safo. Now, after a long silence, the embattled Member of Parliament and Gender Minister, who's facing Parliament's Privileges Committee on grounds of absenteeism, revealed here on The Pulse exclusively that she has not been officially invited to face the charges. When I asked her why she was giving up on the NPP, Adwoa Safo told me that she remains loyal to the New Patriotic Party, the president, and will return to take up her ministerial position. She's been speaking here on The Pulse. We'll bring that to you later on. We know that there's a need for us to get some update in Parliament. The first Deputy Speaker, Joseph Ose, who doubles as the chairperson of the Privileges Committee, has reacted to the claims of Adwoa Safo, stating that sanctions may be applied if the MP fails to show up in Parliament. Let's listen to that interview.
So, as to whether she has received them or not, I can't confirm. But what I can tell you is that the committee has formally written to her. We sent her a letter through her email address, through her WhatsApp number, and through her office.
So
it is obvious that...
What then would your committee intend to do?
Of course, because she has not responded to us, we will send a reminder. In any case, we have rescheduled our meetings, so we will send her a reminder.
When we spoke to her yesterday, it was obvious that she's not coming to Ghana anytime soon.
That's obvious. It's according to your view.
No, she said that when she is done with her family issues, that is when she will
But
come.
that's your interpretation. The obvious is your interpretation, so, not her words.
So, Leader, Speaker, my question is, if she does not appear before the Privileges Committee, what then happens?
The committee will take a decision.
And what would the decision be?
How can I talk about a decision when we haven't taken it? The committee will take a decision when we get there.
Would that be a breach of parliamentary procedure and parliamentary?
But if she wouldn't come to Ghana, would you consider to do a Zoom interview or whatever?
Yes, in our letter to her, we stated so, that we offer her the opportunity to interview her via Zoom. It is stated in her letter, in the letter to her, not yet. So we know that, let me say, we cannot confirm whether the letter sent through her secretary has reached her. I was surprised to read that the same person through whom we sent the letter is the same person through whom the press managed to get her to talk. So we'll review all that when we get to sit.
Her son is not well. Would the committee consider that?
How can I talk about? Let me put this on record. The committee is a court. That is the court of parliament. And so discussing anything to do with the content and outcomes is prejudicial. I'm talking because she has alleged that he hasn't received her. So I want the world to know what the steps we have taken. But I cannot discuss the content or the conclusions. That will be prejudicial.
Well, so that's the position of the First Deputy Speaker on the matter. And what's starting and sparking all of this, it's about Sarah Adwoa Safo. She was speaking here yesterday on the Pulse when she disclosed that the committee did not officially serve her with the invite.
She was at one point Ghana's most wanted MP. She was wanted by the presidency, parliament and her party. They needed her to back their numbers in parliament to approve government's most critical revenue measure, the e-levy, without which the finance ministry had said the economy will probably collapse. Well, for 8 months, try as they did, no one could find her. But JoyNews did, and Sarah Adwoa Safo seized the moment from her base in the USA, live on a Zoom connection to set the record straight.
My son has been unwell, and that is why I had to come here to the United States to, be the mother and the best mother that I could be. And I'm still here, making sure that all that is settled with my son and all the authorities and the school, and it's still ongoing. I've been a deputy leader of Ghana's parliament, and I know the rules, and I know that the Privileges Committee wants me to be in parliament, but as we speak, I don't know that I've been invited.
She says the president was fully aware of her reasons for being absent.
Communication I have sent to His Excellency the President, and he's very much aware of what is happening to me and my family. And that's what I expect every Ghanaian to understand, that I am not intentionally abandoning my duties and my responsibilities. I have served the people of Ghana for 12 years. I entered politics when I was young, and I have done it. And there has not been any past record of me absenting myself like this. That should tell people that there's really something that ought to be done with family, and I know that you will put family first. So they should all start praying and keep praying for us. And I know with God everything is possible, and we're going to go through it.
She and 2 other MPs are subject of a probe by Parliament's Privileges Committee that may lead to her seat being declared vacant. The committee began work yesterday, but she says she has not been invited.
I've been a deputy leader of Ghana's parliament, and I know the rules, and I know that the Privileges Committee wants me to be in parliament, but as we speak, I don't know that I've been invited. I have to be served, and I'm not aware that any such thing has been given to me. I'm just hearing it from you.
So all throughout the process, when it was announced even by the Speaker that you'll be facing the committee, no official document has come to, not even your office in Ghana, communicating that to you officially?
No.
So this would then mean that you will not be appearing before the committee?
As you can see, I'm here in the United States, and I don't know that I was supposed to. I mean, if the Speaker says that you've been referred, the committee has to sit and have its own modalities of how we're going to appear, when and how, the dates, what information they're requiring, and I don't think I have all that information as we speak right now.
And that's really surprising because just a few minutes ago we heard from Ricky Tegan, one of the members of the committee, stating that your schedule is next. So how come you've not been communicated to? Because he's quite sure that at least you are well informed about what the processes are and how the committee is going to go about its proceedings.
I'm just hearing it from you, and I got a message from my personal assistant that you guys wanted to talk to me about it. And that's why I showed up right now.
So is it true that she blackmailed the government when they needed her to pass the e-levy?
That is so untrue. And that's what I'm saying. I forgive anybody who goes out there or who went out there to insult me because of hearsay and third-party people, or the people telling them what they think they know, which is all untrue. And even my personal assistant has come in to debunk all of that. And the reason I didn't come out immediately to do that is that as a seasoned female politician, when people are speaking loudly and you speak, you're not heard. And this is the time for me to explain why I kept my silence. And my silence was because it was too rowdy, it was too loud, and now everything is calm and people will listen to what you got to say.
So when will she return to Ghana to represent her people?
She's going to return when issues with family are well sorted out. And that is not something that I can predict. Since I haven't resigned, it's implied. When I touch down, I am going to do what I have to do as a minister, since I haven't been relieved of my post yet.
Adwoa Safo concludes by stating that she forgives all her colleagues, both in Parliament and in government, who spoke against her publicly.
Okay then, and there's a lot of development in Parliament as we speak, but first let me introduce Sami Obeng, Executive Director for Parliamentary Network Africa. Sami, thank you for your time. You've been with us all throughout the day, monitoring the developments. Now we know that some of her colleagues as well are wading into this, calling possibly for her resignation. We'll talk about that shortly, but let's deal first of all with the procedural matters. The concern is that she's not been served personally. The First Deputy Speaker says we'll go ahead and apply the sanctions. What does the standing orders say in Parliament about the situation, for instance?
Good afternoon. So the orders of Parliament are very clear on issues of service of sermons to anybody who is supposed to appear before Parliament. And for the benefit of your viewers, let me read Order 205. Order 2051 says, an order to attend or to produce documents before a committee, so in this case we are dealing with the order to attend, shall be notified by a sermon signed by the clerk of the House or a committee and issued by the direction of Mr. Speaker or the chairman of the committee, as the case may be. And we heard the chairman said that particular sermons had been issued. But 2052 says that the sermon shall state the time and when, or the time when and the place where the person's sermon is required to attend, and the particular document which he or she is required to produce. And it goes on to say, interesting, and this is the very part that is of interest to me. The sermon shall be served on the person mentioned therein by delivering to him a copy thereof, or by leaving it at his usual place of abode with some adult person, or where this is not known, by publishing it in the press. A sermon under this order may be served by an officer of the House or a police officer.
And that last part you just read there, perhaps may conclude the matters, right? The fact that the controversy as to whether or not she's been served personally. Well, she's challenging that, indicating that if you look at it critically, I know the rules, I have not been served.
Well, and of course, she mentions a number of times she being a former leader of the House. Of course, she's a lawyer. These standing orders are easy to read. How does one get served? You get a letter in your known premises. And this is for people like you and I who do not have known offices in Parliament. She has a known office in Parliament. The press, which includes your colleagues, have indicated that information from the Privileges Committee indicates that letters had been served to her office. We know from the chairman of the committee that letters had been served from what you just played. We know that some of these letters were even sent via email, via social media, WhatsApp. And so in my opinion, it satisfies all the requirements for service of a summons to appear before a committee of Parliament. So I think she may want to rethink that position.
So what you're advising is she needs to show up?
She must show up because, you know, as the chairman of the committee mentioned, and as you are very much aware, committees of Parliament are keen to the High Court, and the Constitution and standing orders of Parliament clearly stipulates, you know, what you must do if Parliament summons you, and indicates what will happen if you do not show up.
Sami, you'd have to stay with us. It's a long day. There are so many reactions we're getting from Parliament already. But let's speak to one woman who's worked closely with Sarah Adwoa Safo and also is ranking on the Gender Committee in Parliament, Helena Joy. So she's joining us now to share her thoughts with us. Thank you so much for joining us. So some of your colleagues already in Parliament have shared their thoughts on this matter with a call on the Member of Parliament to resign. You've worked with her even at the Women Caucus level. What's your prescription to this impasse? The fact that we're not making any headway, we're not getting any solution, and Ghanaians are wondering what the way out will be. Honorable Ntoso, if you can hear me, I'm asking what you think about the way forward and how we could possibly resolve the matters.
Okay, good afternoon to you and good afternoon to our listeners. The way forward, that is a mother and she has children to take care of. You know, apart from parliamentary duties, she knows that for a fact. And that's why she you know, becoming a member of Parliament, she knows that she's gotten some other responsibilities. Notwithstanding that, this is a woman that we all know. She's, you know, she's educated, well educated. She's a lawyer. She knows exactly what to do, you know, when and at what time. She's been in Parliament. This is her third term. She knows the procedure, what she has to do. If she cannot continue, she's got to resign. But she's written officially to the Speaker. That's what we are told. So if, and we know that if you have sent yourself for 15 parliamentary sitting days, then you've got to call it a quit. Parliament will make sure that you do not come to Parliament again, and maybe a by-election will have to be, you know, done in your constituency. And that's the reason why three of them, a Speaker has referred three of them to the to a committee, you know, to address this issue as to whether
we're focusing on her because of a unique circumstance. She talks about the fact that, well, my children are involved here, at least the child is involved here, and I need to see to that as a good mother. These are her words. Definitely you'd want to try and solve the problem before you get back to work. So from the Women Caucus perspective in Parliament, how are you receiving this? And you're also a mother as well. How are you weighing and balancing all of the matters?
Yeah, that's what you know. I think as a woman, you know, that's why I started by saying that coming to Parliament, you know that you have other responsibilities apart from parliamentary duties. So in terms of her duties, if her child has fallen sick, can't we at least sympathize with her that she's absent because her child is sick, and she's got to be with her child. As a mother, I'm a mother. If my child is sick, doesn't mean that I should make it a quit in Parliament. I mean, Ghanaians will have to sympathize with her as long as she's saying that it is because of a child who is sick. is really true that her child is sick, why don't we sympathize with her and pray that God will heal her child so that she will be able to come back to Parliament?
Yeah,
do we have to punish her because her child is sick?
But when you say that, Ghanaians will say, this is someone we voted into Parliament, at least she has the option of seeking treatment even here in the country with regard to the child. We don't know exactly the condition. And also, she also has the option of shuffling between Parliament and going back to the US from time to time as medical experts deal with the case. So that's also an option, isn't it?
It's also an option, but there were other people who are not complaining of taking care of a child or children, but they've equally absented themselves for 15 days in Parliament. So why are we not talking about that? Why are we talking about the lady who is taking care of a child? Because the child is sick.
This is a very controversial matter you're raising here, particularly as we know that the first Deputy Speaker has spoken. He says that they would go ahead and apply the sanctions. As the women group in Parliament, are you willing to go ahead and appeal on her behalf, plead with leadership of the House to at least intervene in the matter?
Sure. We've got to do that. We've got to do that. And we also speak to leadership, to temper, measure with justice. We know that she's been away for some time now. But, as a ranking member for, the Ministry of Gender, Children and Social Protection, in the first instance, she's not being treated fairly at all. She's not. She was really struggling at the ministry. She's not being treated fairly. And if her child is also sick and she has to be away, even if she comes back to go to the ministry, we all know for a fact what is happening at the ministry.
Do you have some information that perhaps the public is not aware of, a reason for which she's struggling so much, the words you're using now?
No, I'm saying that apart from her child
yes.
who is not feeling well, she's not being treated fairly. Government, the president, has not treated her fairly. I'm the ranking for gender, so I know what I'm talking about. She's not being treated fairly.
How?
So if her child is sick and then she even comes back, amount of about 1 billion was approved for the Ministry of Gender, Children and Social Protection. Ask the Minister for Finance whether he's released any money to the ministry. Very soon we'll be looking at his budget review. And if 1 billion has been released to or approved for the Minister of Gender, and to today nothing has been released to the Minister of Gender. The last time we went to the ministry was about 1.5 months ago. No releases to the ministry. So if you are a minister and you've got to look at lead programs, you've got to look at school feeding, women are demonstrating. For 2 terms they've not been paid, and then you come and sit at the ministry like somebody says I don't want to use in a West that will not be good for listeners. But what I'm saying is that I'm seriously concerned about her child that is not well.
Okay, so
I'm bringing these other issues because I know what's also going on in the ministry, and I say she has not been treated.
Right. So you have background information. At least the opportunity is here. The president is here to act on the matter. Sarah Adwoa Safo herself says the president is the final authority to decide on this matter. If the president were to be presented with the option of asking her to resign or firing her, what will be your message to the president on this matter?
My message to the president of the Republic of Ghana is that he hasn't treated Honorable Adwoa Safo fairly at all. At all. Because I know that he knows that I know. Because I'm the ranking member of the Gender Committee. He hasn't treated Adwoa Safo fairly. And if he thinks that what Adwoa Safo is not doing right, he should come out. I dare the president to come out.
You're daring the president?
Yes.
But this is the same president who you said on the floor of the House, Parliament specifically, that he is, quote, a lover of women. That's what you said about the president.
Yeah, because I quoted from his 2021 Sona address.
Yes.
I quoted from the Sona address. And that's why I use those words.
So that would be a mismatch, isn't it?
That would be what?
A mismatch if you say that the president has not treated her well.
No, if I say the president is a lover of women, because I quoted from his Sona address for 2021. And then a woman that she has appointed is having difficulties coming back to Parliament because her son is sick. Won't the president come out to say that, look, I've gotten a note from this lady explaining why she's absented herself, for the president to come out to say that I agree to her. I agree to the memo that she sent to me that the son is not well, so people have patience and sympathize with her. Or it's been too long, so I'm not going to accept this anymore. So I have fired her. For Ghanaians to know that, yes, president is not in favor, so he's fired her. Or president is in favor because he's sympathizing with her as a woman. These are two options.
Mm. Okay, then.
And the honor lies with the president. And then from there, it comes to Parliament also. Whether Mr. Speaker has really received a letter from Adwoa explaining her circumstances, and whether we should start, the procedure of letting her go. We're waiting. Some of us, we're waiting patiently.
All right, then.
To folks at the outcome of whatever will take place at, the Privileges Committee.
Right. So we'll wait to see what the outcome will be. I'm grateful, Honorable Helen Njoso, for joining us. Yes. Sami Obing is the Executive Director for the Parliamentary Network Africa. Sami, if you're still with us, I want us to briefly take a listen to the reaction from Parliament today when my colleague Parker Wilson engaged some of them on the recent developments on this matter. So take a listen to that, and then we'll come back to you, Sami, to get your thoughts on the concerns of the MPs.
Clearly, from what she's saying, she has a genuine concern, and as a colleague, it's important that we also appreciate the fact of family. Obviously, if somebody is talking about family, it is important that you take a critical look at it, because after this job, she'll go back to her family. We all go back to family, and obviously, if she has a family problem that needs her attention, I think, it's in order to grant her that leeway. However, it is also important for us to also appreciate the fact that her constituents will need her to represent them adequately. So we need to find a way of blending that too, that family issues and the parliamentary job, so that the constituents will also have their say in Parliament, as well as she will be able to also resolve some of the family issues. So I strongly believe that obviously it is in the hands of the leadership and the party to take it up, to know exactly what to do.
They are legitimate. Very legitimate comments and observations. But as a colleague member of Parliament, I really sympathize with her and sympathize with the situation, because, her situation makes it even more complex because she was a former leader. So if backbenchers or members were having these challenges, how would she have handled it? And so the whole thing is quite complex. And I wish she could actually come down, meet the committee, meet leadership of the party, meet leadership of Parliament, and conclude. You see, you can't take permission forever. For that, it's impossible. And you don't have this. You don't go into a situation where you are forced to be pushed, I would rather prefer her to jump. She should take the lead and jump. Because from the way she spoke, I listened to her. In fact, I've listened to her 3 times.
Oh, I see.
Yeah. And first, I must commend Joy FM for trying to get her for us.
You've been struggling to get her. You managed to find her.
You've done well. We must commend your station for that. Yeah. And I was worried on the aspect of she has not gotten any communication from the committee. And you can see
I made my checks with Parliament. They said that is false. They have made an arrangement to contact her. They've served there through all the available channels.
I even understand they are even ready to communicate with her the way you did.
This matter is a very controversial one, and I will be a bit circumspect in my commentary, especially because she is speaking from the perspective of a woman. And if you check our laws in this country, there are times that a woman, after giving birth, is given some few months to stay home, even as a public servant. And so it is not anything new. But the question is to the extent to which this has dragged, especially when he is a representative of the people of Dominican Benya who also want to ensure that there is some amount of representation for them in Parliament. Now she gives the indication that there is a certain kind of conflict between her family issues and, for that matter, she is not able to do what is desired of her as a minister and a member of Parliament. I think that Adwoa needs some attention. If you look at the commentary that is coming, she needs some attention. She needs.
What should the party do?
She needs attention.
Well, so we'll get back to all of that for you. Samuel Bing is holding on for us via Zoom. We'll get to all the issues. In fact, we'll be getting to the Dominican constituency as well, as some constituents are reacting to this development. But some breaking news for you. JoyNews is picking up information that there has been an armed robbery attack at Enyinam on the Accra-Kumasi highway. We understand that 2 persons have been killed. JoyNews cannot independently confirm their identities, but we have received distress calls from persons who say that they were present actually when the robbery was taking place. Let's speak to one of the persons there, Ibrahim Mohammed, who is one of the eyewitnesses. Ibrahim, just recount to us what transpired.
Right, I don't know if you can hear me clearly here.
I can.
Because there's noise.
I can hear you.
Right, so the incident happened around 2:20 thereabouts. In fact, I was just nearby house buying food. I overheard the gunshot and I thought it was knockout. But I was kind of we are not in the Christmas or Easter, so what's happening? So I only sneaked and realized people were running helter-skelter. And then asked for I'm robbery. So in fact, it took over 30 minutes for the robbery to happen. In fact, it's from Kumasi, it happened now for Dofel just on the roadside at Amai. That is where gold buyer or gold seller, but they buy the two gold. So they buy gold and they as well. Now they came like they want to sell their gold, and within 5 minutes the shooting began. So they were 6 people, some were outside, and then the others were inside. Unfortunately, they met only one guy there that they shot on the chest and then on the stomach as well. They took a huge amount of gold and gold. So of course,
okay.
Today,
So as we speak now, do we have police presence?
What? Sorry,
do we have the presence of the police in the area?
The police. It took over 40 minutes before the police got here. In fact, the police. So as soon as they left, about 5 minutes, 6 minutes that they left, we saw the police coming. We were thinking the police were going to take the armed robbery. We only we only realized that from Enjam heading towards Accra. And then 30 minutes later, the police. So currently we have about 2 months, or they are in the uniform, they are here, but it has happened already. But one amazing thing is that the guys took the money in their bag, and then they pushed through. They head towards Mampon. There is a town here called Mampon. They head towards there. Then they sneak to the main road heading towards Linda Road. So we are all guessing that's where they took their car. You know, because the source groups here were saying that the car back there, they didn't know what was happening, but they just asked the gun began, like the shooting began. They moved the car heading towards Accra. So probably they stood this guy has of plantain, the street there and the left.
All right, I'm grateful for the update. And you just have visuals on the screens right now indicating a daylight robbery on the Accra-Kumasi stretch. For those of you who are using that stretch as well, you might want to be cautious as we await a statement from the Ghana Police Service on this matter. And the latest development that we're hearing of, we're also hearing of a situation where 2 persons have been shot. We're yet to confirm the identities of these persons, but the police service will definitely give us some updates when we have that. But there you have it, some of the passengers on board there sobbing, and we'll definitely get you updates in our subsequent bulletins. But it's time now for us to go back to the Dominic Kovinya area. Earlier on, my colleague Samuel Mbura was within the constituency engaging some of the residents to find out what they make of the justifications coming through from their member of parliament.
Largest constituency in Ghana. It has a voter population of over 100,000 on the voters register. The member of parliament is Sarah Adwoa Safo. The honorable MP has been explaining why she has been away from parliamentary duties and attending to her constituents.
Communication I have sent to His Excellency the President, and he's very much aware of what is happening to me and my family. And that's what I expect every Ghanaian to understand, that I am not intentionally abandoning my duties and my responsibilities. I have served the people of Ghana for 12 years. I entered politics when I was young, and I have done it. And there has not been any past record of me absenting myself like this. That should tell people that there's really something that ought to be done with family, and I know that you will put family first. So they should all start praying and keep praying for us. And I know with God everything is possible, and we're going to pull through it.
But some of the constituents hold the view that in as much as her reasons for absenting herself from parliament are justified, they still need her in the constituency to come and help them solve the challenges that are facing the constituency.
We confided in her, that's why we voted for her. You understand? Why is it that the way and manner people trusted you, they entrust you and then put the whole constituency into your care, and you left the place and then go and stay abroad? If you wanted her to perform in abroad, she should go there and then perform there. All that we're saying is, even the MPP party itself, they are very disappointed. Because if they want to vote something in the parliament, they have to beg you before you go to the place, which is very bad. It's very awful. So if you can reach her, just tell her we need her to perform her duties in the constituency. That's all that we can say.
What is right and what is wrong. So I don't see why she should absent herself from her official duties. That is why people are worrying about it.
Right now I can complain because I can see some difficulty in our area, our roads, and if our MP is not around, we don't know what to do. But that's why we have to wait for it to come.
I don't have anything to say, but what I want to say is that you want to spoil MPP party because the people have voted for you. Instead of you to come and perform your duties as a parliamentarian, now they have let the opposition have got a chance. Everybody is talking about you, which is very bad. So we are begging him to come back. If he want to resign, You should come and resign so that if MPP will get a suitable person to occupy your place, that's it. You see, because
Sarah Adwoa Safo is expected to appear before the Privileges Committee to justify her absenteeism. Samuel Mbura reporting from Dom Kobia Constituency in the Greater Accra region.
Okay, then let's wrap up with Sami being on this matter. So, Sami, what should be the way forward, and what are you expecting in the coming days?
For me, the Honorable Member of Parliament for Dom Kwabenya, we've heard the concerns she has raised, we've heard the challenges she's having. Like I said on your station in the morning, we can empathize with her on the family grounds and all of that. But that is why an opportunity has been provided to appear before the Privileges Committee to explain these matters and to help in making recommendations on what the next steps should be, so that the Privileges Committee can report this back to plenary. And especially when the committee has offered her an opportunity to even have a a Zoom streamed, teleconferencing kind of arrangement for her to appear before the committee. I think that it is only proper that she does the needful, because you see, the arrangement of Parliament is such that even when you find yourself in such circumstances, there are procedures on what you must do so that you will not be seen as one who neglected your responsibilities. And having been summoned before the Privileges Committee, she has a responsibility, a duty to all of us to ensure that she appears. I've read the provisions of the standing orders, which talks about what it means to have been summoned. And I hope that by the time the committee meets next week, which we are told is when the committee will be meeting, we will have a different set of news on this subject matter, and we'll be able to see the way forward.
Are you expecting a comment from the Speaker?
Well, the Speaker has referred the matter to the Privileges Committee. Usually when you make a referral to a committee of the House, you as Speaker, wait until the committee reverts. The Speaker gave some timelines within which the committee must complete its work and report to Parliament. So if there is any expectation even on Speaker commenting, it will have to be when the timeline is elapsed and the committee has not been able to finish its work or what have you. But for now, I think that it is the bosom of the committee. It's for good reason that the Privileges Committee is actually indicated to be chaired by a first Deputy Speaker of Parliament, because of the weight of that committee and the things that it does. So I don't really expect comments from the Speaker at the moment. I expect that the Committee of Privileges will do its work. Although they've indicated that they will be sitting in camera, which of course they have the right so to do, although I was disappointed to have heard that, but of course they've given reasons on people's health, privacy and all of that as reason why they are doing that. We expect that in the end, they will work within time, they'll present their findings, and then we'll see the next steps.
Sami, I'm grateful for your time. And we know that a lot will be happening this weekend, but already 6 persons have been picked up in the northern region at the ongoing New Patriotic Party's regional branch elections. The Northern Regional Crime Officer, Superintendent Bernard Baba Ananga, who confirmed this, said they suspect the 6 were plotting to create mayhem at the venue.
Yes, about 6 persons have been arrested by police. It appeared that most of them were here for a different purpose. We were here as early as possible to ensure that the gates were open to the public. And we went to all the stadium apartments and all the rooms. We detected that some people were hiding somewhere. About 5 of them. So we picked them up and then we sent them to the office for investigation. Another one also found himself in a secret room somewhere making calls. It's one of our officers doing the thorough inspection, spotted him. social unrest. We saw that those persons appear to be characters that look suspicious in this premises to cause mayhem and possibly be smuggling in from one way or the other, which investigations are ongoing to find out the purpose for their presence here. They were not authorized in any way. Nobody seemed to know them, and their behavior also.
Now, you mentioned that one was making a call that sounded suspicious. Do we know the content?
We do know it. We are still investigating. We need to find out.
We are also told that there were some shots, some gunshots.
I have not seen, I only heard a sound that I played, but no police officer fired anything.
So you heard too?
It could be a knockout, could be anything, but nobody fired it.
Nobody fired from the police?
No, because
but you can't tell whether it's from the crowd.
There's nothing to fire. Possibly you can see, you can even hear drama and dancing out there. People are also trying to celebrate the rearrangement before the declaration of the results. So possibly they are throwing knockouts. People celebrating, drumming, dancing. You know, this area is just full of those kinds of maybe musketry or anything.
Well, fortunately, Albert, has been monitoring all of these developments for us. Joins us now via Zoom. So, Albert, fill us in and give us some updates to what's happening now. Albert, we're having some difficulties connecting to you, but if you can hear me, I'm just asking if you can give us the latest on what's happening where you are.
Voting will be ending here.
Albert, it appears we can't hear you clearly, but let's try one more time. Can you hear me? What's the latest where you are? Okay, let's try and work around the connection with Albert, sorry, but Ilyasu Tanko is also joining us. What more can you tell us? You'd have to unmute first of all so we can hear you. Ilyasu, if you can hear me, I'm just asking you to unmute so we can hear you.
Yes.
Yes, Ilyasu, let's hear you.
Yes, so voting has just come to an end. The results has been declared. Most of a majority of the incumbent executive have retained their seat. The chairman himself, he went through a fiercely contested race. He came out successfully. The regional secretary has also retained his seat. The youth organizer has also retained his seat, except for few positions that have gotten new officers. Largely all the aspirants, the incumbent, have retained their seat. The election was largely peaceful, except for the arrest of an individual who was trying to enter the voting ground with a firearm. He was quickly arrested by the police, and as I speak to you now, he's currently in police custody.
Do we know what's accounting for that?
The election in the north. Sorry, can you come again?
Do we know what accounted for that?
Yes, he was trying to enter the voting ground with a firearm. He was possessing a firearm, and he was trying to enter the voting ground with this firearm. And that is when he was arrested by the police. The police, there were a heavy police security presence. The security there were largely unarmed. They came without their guns. A few were armed actually, and they were positioned at the main gate of the the voting ground, but those that were at the voting ground were largely unarmed. So yes, the voting in the Northeast region has come to an end, with majority of the incumbent retaining their seat.
And what has been the reaction from delegates and grassroots of the party?
Well, all the losing aspirants, if I may call them, immediately congratulated, in fact, with their agents, immediately congratulated the winners and accepted the outcome of the polls with no hesitation. And the supporters of the winners actually, as I speak to you now, the Nalerigo Township, there are a lot of an outbreak of wild jubilations. People are jubilating, and the regional chairman, who actually before this particular process was under some kind of pressure, he was contested by two other aspirants, and he managed to garner about 50 out of the 172, actually, sorry, 72 out of the 146 delegates that took part in this particular process. He actually said that he was winning this particular election because of the vice president, and we know that the vice president is coming from this particular region.
Right.
Before this particular election, all the aspirants that I spoke to told me that they were winning this election for the vice president because they know that he's lacing his boots to contest the MPP, to lead the MPP going into the 2024 election. So the chairman said that he was actually winning particular position so that he will be able to mobilize the party grassroots and ensure that they capture all the 6 seats. Before the 2020 election, he had promised that he was going to win all the 6 constituencies, but they managed to win 4 out of the 6 constituencies. The chairman said that a lot of lessons have been learned, and he is now going to work with the new executives to ensure that the 6 constituencies, they win all, to send a signal actually to the party that the vice president's own region massively are in support of him, his ambitions. And so, yes, this is what he is saying, that he wants to win all the 6 constituencies to ensure that the vice president get an easy path when it's time for them to elect their flag bearer.
Ilyasu Tanko, thank you for giving us some updates on that. You're still watching The Pulse. We'll return shortly after this break. We'll tell you about something exciting that you really need to know about. Stay with us. And you're welcome back to The Pulse. Now, we are all excited about this. I am as well, because there's a guide finally out which is helping us to write feature articles very, very well. And guess what? Our senior colleague here at My Joy Online and also the multimedia family, talking about one man who you need to know about, Eric Mensah Aite, has finally come up with this package. Guess what? It's a guide to writing feature articles. That's the book that we're focusing on here on The Pulse today. And the man, as you've just seen in your shot, is here with me. And so we'll talk about this one. And then there's another package as well.
Yes.
So it's double package, Eric.
Yes.
So let's start off with this one. I'm excited about a guide to writing feature articles. What actually inspired this?
Yeah, so I've been practicing journalism for the past 25 years.
Right.
Journalism, public relations, actually. And I realized that people have difficulty in writing. You ask someone to give you a brief on something. I mean, an event is happening. Write it out for me. The person has difficulty in
just writing,
conceptualizing, putting the thing down in the manner that pleases the reviewer. So, I mean, on the contrary, I get praised when I write articles. So then I'm like, why don't I help out? I sat down, came up with this guide, asking, how do I write? What do I do? How do I do it? When do I do it? Why do I do it? And all of that. And I came up with an addition that says you must have a motive. So I added the M, the O/the R, which is your motive, an opinion or recommendation that you would like to give after writing, especially if you write a critique of an event, an individual, an organization.
You know what? I'm sure that a lot of people watching us now will feel, well, if it's about feature articles, this must certainly be about you as media persons, right? But I believe it goes way beyond that.
It goes way, way, way beyond that. If you're a nurse and you want to write about diseases that you treat as a nurse or a doctor, you want to write about a particular medical condition, this is your book. It tells you how to go about it from beginning to the end.
So let's talk about some of the details in here. I am excited about page 127. Yeah. And guess what? It talks about when life begins at 40.
Yes.
Then you tell a story about
the roller coaster ride, 250 plus.
Tell us about that.
I wrote that article because within a period of 3 years, I lost a brother, a friend, in fact, a brother and two friends, all in their 50s. Then TB Joshua died at 57.
Wow.
So I'm like, what's happening within this age range? I researched and I realized that that phrase or that catchphrase we hear, life begins at 40, it's pregnant with meaning. I realized that at 40, maybe you are a CEO. That means a lot of stress on you. Your time is being demanded here and there. Family, you have children, you have to take care of them, school fees, everything. A lot of pressure. If you are not able to manage that pressure, then you begin to slow down and you go off the scene. It's coupled with the fact that you are aging. So, as I put in the book, your shock absorbers. You realize that within that age bracket, there are certain pains that come up and you don't understand. It has to do with the process of aging. You are no more 20. You can't jump around like anybody.
And have a good time.
So you need to slow down so that you'll be able to go through that phase of aging and possibly get to 80 and enjoy it.
And I'm having the benefit to know about what's in there because at least I have a complimentary copy. But many people out there would have the opportunity finally tomorrow. Right, I guess to
not tomorrow. It's 28th June.
28th
right,
June.
Okay,
so
28th
that's
June
when officially
comes out. But it's now available on sale at the Ghana.
Oh, okay. Even before then.
Even before then. So that because I got the impression that people were anxious to
just
get hold of it. Yeah. So let them enjoy it. But the D-Day is 28th June at the Ghana Institute of Journalism. We are launching at between 4 and 6 p.m. And the Anglican Bishop of Accra has graciously offered to do the launch.
Whoa.
Yeah, and
sounds exciting.
Yeah, so everyone is welcome.
Yeah, and there are so many articles.
Yeah, there are 22 articles actually, and it's very interesting read. So far, the feedback that I've received is very encouraging.
Yeah.
Encouraging because it looks like people start reading and they can't. They even don't finish. They tell me how they are enjoying the book. So I urge everyone to get a copy.
And what's unique is that when you're reading, it's almost as though you're reading a story.
Yes.
But then you are also picking up
guided. Being guided as to how this was written. Therefore, if I have something in mind, I should be able to put it on paper if I want.
Sounds interesting.
Yes. Then there is an advanced that's creative writing. So after you've developed your basic writing skills, now you can go into creative writing. Creative writing has
so this is different from what we have.
This is different from this. Okay. This is about creative writing. This has to do with you looking at an environment and imagining how differently you can describe what we have here. So we have two cameras here, but if you are asked to describe the scene here, instead of talking about Blessed and Eric standing talking, you go like, in this room there are 4 television sets. In front of these 4 television sets are cameras. And in front of these cameras are Blessed and
gives a colorful image.
That's it. So that's the creative writing bit that this offers. So on that day, we're launching these 2 books, and it's actually a triple celebration. I'm looking at 1 year at multimedia, 25 years in journalism, and these 2 books being launched.
It's certainly an experience that you can't miss out. you need to get these two copies. But for those who may not be journalists, we talked about that earlier. Is it the fact that they could go in for the two, or just one would do?
I would recommend both, because it makes very interesting. In fact, you must have the desire to write.
Okay.
And once you have the desire to write, this is what you need.
And not just writing, reading as well.
Reading.
Because
In fact,
reading makes the man,
that
right?
is it. That is it. So you read
Right.
and you get the guide and you are able to put it in practice.
When are we expecting this on the market, or it's also out? The two of them are coming on the same
Yes,
day?
they're coming out at the same time.
So that's double package.
Yes, that's a double package.
What's someone missing out if you don't grab a copy?
You are missing a lot of interesting socio-political issues analyzed in a very interesting manner. Punching, but also making sure that the one being punched doesn't feel the punch.
Yeah, and that's a colorful summary for you, everyone. You need to get a copy of this and make sure that you're reading that. It's by Eric Mensah Aite, and you definitely know that if you're dealing with a senior person here at Multimedia, then definitely the content has got to be excellent. Eric, your final words?
I'd like to urge everyone who likes to write, to get a copy. And I said it before, it's not for journalists. It's not for student journalists. It's for anyone who wants to write. That article you see in the Mirror, that article you see in the Daily Graphic, that you read, that you're so impressed about, that article in the Daily Dispatch that you wish you could write, this book would make you write that article.
Eric, I'm grateful.
Thank you.
Well, we'll take a short break here. We'll get back after this. So we're asking that question, is there factionalism within the education front? Maybe. That's the reading of education think tank, Africa Education Watch, following contradictions in responses provided by the Education Minister and the Ghana Education Service on the Ghana Accountability for Learning Outcome project, Gallup, which is funded by the World Bank. We know that the Minister, Yaoseye Duchum, held a news conference yesterday at which he said his ministry has undertaken the digital literacy training for over 41,000 teachers across the country. For those of you who missed it, here are excerpts.
The mandate was that we needed to train 40,000 teachers in digital literacy. So the Ministry of Education, that is the implementation agency for that component of the funding, embarked on the project of training 40,000 teachers. Platform was created. On that platform, teachers went there and they did the training. At the time that the project was about to come to an end, we had trained over 41,000 teachers. The World Bank then asked the development partners in Ghana to form a consortium and verify if the ministry has really done the work so that they can release the 1.2 million. The development partners then came, looked at the platform, verified the list of people on the platform, and came to the conclusion that the work has been done. They sent me a letter congratulating me for having met the benchmark that they set for us, and therefore wrote to the World Bank to release the 1.2 million so that we can use the 1.2 million to embark of the project that will improve teaching and learning in the Gallup schools. As I speak with you, the amount is sitting in our account, ready to be used for its intended purpose, buying furniture, buying teaching and learning materials, ensuring that in Gallup schools, everything that they need can be done using the 1.2 million. So if anybody is saying anything, all that I want to tell you is that the money was not intended for training. The training was to be supported by us. And once we can show that we have a skin in the game, that we are committed to the transformation of education in Gallup schools, then they will release the money, and that is what they have done. The good news is that the money is sitting in our account as I speak with you today. So, ladies and gentlemen of prayer, nothing can be further from the truth that Dr. Yaoseye Duchum was or pretend over a project that is not going to benefit Ghanaians. It will never be true. I will never do that. I didn't come to this country to do that. I came to help project the president and ensure that his vision for transformation of education is accomplished. So today, as I sit in front of you, I sit with a sober reflection, understanding that you work so hard, and the others who don't care about that. What they care about is to do anything to dent your image. But I want to assure Ghanaians that Dr. Duchum is in their corner. The president is in their corner. We are here to work hard to change education as we know it.
Well, so Africa Education Watch is calling for an independent audit into the matter. They're raising a number of concerns through an official statement which has been released today. We can now bring you excerpts of that statement, which you have on your screens right now, indicating that, first of all, their recommendations is that to put to rest the contention surrounding the digital learning training disclaimer by the GES, and also affirming the institutional credibility of MOE. The World Bank should conduct an independent audit of the training by KA Technologies to establish its scope, relevance, equality, and then reach, and make public its findings. Then they go ahead to talk about another point in the recommendations section of the statement, indicating that to promote transparency and accountability in the management and the implementation of the Gallup project, the Ministry of Education must publish all project-based condition reports, annual implementation progress reports, and also the implementation completion reports of Gallup on its website. And then there's recommendation number 3, talking about the fact that the World Bank, Gallup funding partners, and the Ministry of Education should take advantage of the next implementation phase of Gallup and then support the midterm review and also some existing non-disclosure agreements on Gallup, and commit the Ministry of Education to a more transparent management of Gallup while clarifying institutional rules to avoid conflicts. So these are some of the points they're making, including the fact that the Ministry of Education must focus on its core function of policy implementation and coordination, and also continue to support the Ghana Education Service in policy implementation when required. These are some of the pointers that we're getting from the Africa Education Watch. So let's hear from the group itself. Fortunately, we've been joined now by Kofi Asare, who's the Executive Director for Africa Education Watch. Thank you so much, sir, for joining us. So is the explanation that we're getting from the ministry sitting down well with you, having heard the minister and his explanations? At least we know you're making some recommendations, but first, let's start off from the justification by the sector minister. What's your take on that?
Good afternoon to your audience. The minister's press statement explains the ministry's side of a contentious issue. It doesn't necessarily address the issue of disclaimer the GES Director General made. And so, but that is the side of the ministry in respect of the disclaimer by the GES. It is only an independent body which has no interest in the subject matter, which has no position and trend position that can verify whether or not what the ministry is saying is indeed factual, or what the GES is saying is indeed factual. Note that the two agencies are supposed to work together like twins. One is the principal and the other is the agency. The implementing wing of the Ministry of Education is the GES at the tertiary sector. So the two must be seen to be speaking in unison. When one is speaking a different language from the other, then it raises questions in respect of the varying account of policy implementation. And that is why a neutral body is required, to more or less verify the claim of the GES within the context of the submission of the Ministry of Education for us to put this matter to rest.
Yeah, and some say this was even needless in the first place, having witnessed what we're seeing, a disconnect between a state agency and its supervising sector ministry. That's really strange for that to happen.
It is indeed most unfortunate in the sense that the ministry's job is to formulate policy and coordinate the implementation of same. The GES's job is to implement policy. So they are supposed to work in tandem. The least one would expect would be for the GES to be making pronouncement totally in variance with what the ministry is saying.
Right.
More so when the pronouncement is in respect of the implementation of an activity expected to benefit staff of the GES. So if the GES being the employer is not in knowledge, is totally ignorant of a claim by the ministry that certain training has been administered to its staff, then it leaves much to be desired. Because, as I said, the two agencies must be seen to be talking and moving towards a unified direction. But unfortunately, we are having contradicting statements being issued by both agencies, and that is why it is worrying.
And with the recommendations that we're getting from Africa Education Watch, to what end, and particularly what problem will that address? I guess that will be the bigger question. Because yes, you're making recommendations, but then what problem will that fix?
At the base of the problem we are discussing is the lack of accountability and transparency in a $218 million project being implemented. And don't forget that World Bank projects are largely loans that the taxpayer is going to pay, largely. There is always a percentage that may go into grants, but the majority of the project is loan. So we are of the opinion that this occurrence is happening because we are having a situation where there is limited accountability and transparency in the management of such a project. If there were reports on Gallup available on the website of the Ministry of Education, if the Ministry of Education had shared reports, implementation completion reports, semi-annual reports, annual reports, and even activity reports of the particular activities in question on Gallup, I'm not sure the GES would have denied knowledge of what is obviously available to the entire public. But unlike the common practice in project management, if you go to the Ministry of Education's website, there's absolutely no report on Gallup. And I'm talking about a project which is worth over 1.5 billion cedis. There's no report on it. So everything is shrouded in opacity. How are we CSOs able to verify, and in this case, come and justify the claim of the ministry and say that we are aware that this activity was conducted on this date or during this period, and it was done ABCD? There's no report. So the first issue is that we need to begin to adapt transparency and transparent and accountable mechanisms in the management of projects and all policies at the Ministry of Education, so that it will not take, or it will not be or lie within the bosom of one agency to claim that A or B or C has been done or hasn't been done. But then the entire stakeholder community would have been aware that indeed this activity has been done. But beyond that, let me indicate quite clearly that we have a situation where an agency of the ministry, the head is appointed by the president. The same president also appoints the minister and appoints the board of the Ghana Education Service. We have raised issues about this arrangement within our laws for a long time. That whenever one appointment authority appoints the minister, appoints the board, that's the GS Council, and appoints the Director General, it creates the potential or the likelihood of accountability being blurred, or in some instances, impunity festering within the service or the institutions, because everyone is appointed by the same president. It is different if the minister appoints the heads of the institutions. In that case, there is much more loyalty or accountability to the minister. And so we have always argued that in the best practice worldwide, the executive appoints the minister. Then the minister will appoint the agencies under the ministry with the approval of His Excellency the President. Then His Excellency the President will hold the minister responsible for the delivery of the mandate of the ministry. In that case, the minister also ensures that the appointees under him deliver according to his mandate.
Right.
So we think that if this system is changed, it will it will resolve most of these issues where you have appointees of the president,
all right, then.
Having, subordination issues or having acceding to the dictates of the mother ministry. It is very, very problematic, and we are happy if the president will take a second look, not only in the education sector, but all the social sectors, in our economy.
Interesting times ahead. I'm grateful, Kofi, for joining us. Well, we're still focusing on this matter as well. Some adolescent girls at the Amasama cluster of schools say they're having some challenges, particularly with issues of sanitary pads, and they've had to use, for instance, newspapers while menstruating due to the high cost of sanitary pads. There's more in the following report.
The Amasaman cluster of schools will be the 17th cluster to receive support from the Inspire Today Foundation.
I always use Euro because sanitary pad is too expensive.
I use sanitary pad, but sometimes I don't get, so I use newspapers because it's free. I don't buy.
As for me, my mother doesn't have, so I use pieces of cloth.
More than 3,000 girls received sanitary towels, bathing soap, roll-ons, shaving sticks and educational materials to mark this year's World Menstrual Hygiene Day.
There have been instances where girls have even dropped out of school because the school environment have not been made safe for them. And we thank Inspire Today for their contribution in support of our girls in the schools.
Senior manager in charge of corporate communications, seized the opportunity to encourage the girls to be intentional about their goals.
On the occasion of the World Menstrual Hygiene Day, we would like to encourage young girls to understand that menstruation is part of every girl's life. In trying to achieve the objectives, menstruation should never prevent them from achieving their goals.
Wilma Africa, producers of Jama soap and Alive, supplied the girls with soap to promote good menstrual hygiene.
We know that keeping clean as a student would help in their education because it's only in cleanliness that you can actually assimilate whatever you are being taught. And so our partnership of this is to instill in the students that keeping clean and observing good personal hygiene with our Alive brand is the way to go.
Founder of Inspire Today, Etonamse, expressed worry about a recent report by Plan International Ghana revealing that 83% of adolescent girls interviewed in Wa East sleep with men in exchange for sanitary pads.
We give free condoms to people who are choosing to have sex. So why can't we give free sanitary pads to girls who do not choose to menstruate? And we have as much as 20% tax on sanitary pads because government considers it a luxury product. So I want to use this opportunity to appeal to government to review the tax on sanitary pads.
She's meanwhile expressed gratitude to world readers, step publishers, Ladi Bird of Zin Petroleum, Allah Foods, producers of Dano Milk and Fan Milk Ghana Limited for their consistent support in helping to keep the girl child in school. Inspire Today Foundation is a network organization nurturing a nationwide movement of female leaders through a concerted effort at achieving the Sustainable Development Goals 3 and 5, which is promoting good health and well-being and enforcing gender equality.
Well, there's more on this matter. Non-profit group Child Online Africa is mounting pressure on government to either abolish or significantly reduce a 20% tax on sanitary pads. For now, the product is attracting such a high tax rate because it is classified as a luxury product. Executive Director for the group, Adwoa Safo, tells JoyNews that the trend ought to be reversed.
In fact, in Child Online Africa, we have a project we call the Happy Schoolgirl Project, and that project focuses more on the menstrual hygiene management of young girls, especially those in school. And it's about creating a world where girls are not held back by their menstruation or by the fact that they menstruate. Because menstruation it's a natural process for every girl who transits into womanhood. So we deem it an opportunity or a great day to amplify the need for the usual call that we've been making aside every other thing, which has to do with removal of the 20% tax on that product, that small product we're calling sanitary pad. Fortunately, the theme for this year is making menstruation a normal fact of life by 2030. So if we are committed to making menstruation a normal fact of life by 2030, as stated in the Sustainable Development Goals, it's important for us to break the taboo and the stigma around menstruation. Fine. It's also important for us to mobilize funds required for the support of girls who menstruate, and even do that at scale. But interestingly, I know you see a number of people soliciting for the donation of sanitary pad in order to take to deprived communities. I feel that if we really committed to making menstruation a part of life, that should not be seen in our approach or in our country as we speak. Most importantly, our president is also has also been awarded as a gender personality by the African Union. So for me, it's disappointing to have such a creditable personality in our midst, yet we are confronted with basic things like sanitary pad. Hitherto used to be 5.5, and I'm sure by now we are hitting 7.5. If they could not afford it at 5.5, what is the guarantee that they could even afford it at 7.5? So most people are going to be going around, partners are going to be going around soliciting for the donation of such pad. And for me, that undermines the gender equality fight we are fighting, or the approach to making menstruation part of life. And yes, we can also raise awareness and create the needed environment, but access to the product is one key concern, and which falls within what we have been talking about in the past 3 or 4 years, which is the tax. If the main problem of not having access to the product is tax or is a cost, then clearly the tax is the greatest concern for us. And we would want to appreciate the fact that, okay, aside setting up other things like the one district, one factory we have in the country, we should also consider some designated specifically for sanitary pad products, so that if they produce those products locally, because the materials are sourced locally, it will reduce the cost of those products and making them available for young girls. So our call again is for the government of Ghana to take off the 20% import tax.
Well, so I'm sure that you've wondered why many people in Ghana put 100% trust in the church and won't even go to the hospital if they are sick. Well, the Makers House Chapel International is seeking to change this by providing to its members that seeing a doctor is also important as praying for God's intervention in their health. Well, the church has brought down doctors from the United States of America to help deal with some medical problems faced by its members. So let's find out what this will be all about and how you can also benefit from that program. Joining us now is Dr. Emmanuel Sarkodie, medical doctor and missions director of the Makers House Chapel International, and Dr. Kweku Boachi is co-founder of the Gold Coast Medical Foundation USA. So yeah, US has come to Ghana. But it's good to see you all.
Thank you.
I need to start off first of all that, the dawn devotions and all of that that we see from the founder of your church is quite a significant program. I benefit from that a lot. So it's great to know that there's a lot happening in your church, but then you're not necessarily just laying emphasis on spiritual well-being, but then also the issue about the scientific aspect as well. Why are you striking the balance as a church?
Well, the Bible said a false balance and abomination. So as Christians, we need to live what Scripture have said. It doesn't matter how powerful, how rich, how good, how sensible, how smart, or you can find all the adjectives that you can describe any person in the world. Without health, nothing moves. So you can be as sound as you are. So let's pick up the best physician in the world. Let's pick up the best president in the world. If the person is sick and in the room and cannot move, cannot think, nothing can be done. So health is paramount. And the thing is that God sees that paramount. Your body on this earth, the spirit on its own cannot live on the earth. That's the reason why God and the devil, you don't see them physically here. God is not their domain. This domain is for the flesh. So if you don't take care of your housing, which is the flesh, you are virtually as good as dead.
Right.
So it is important that the church will not only preach spirit, but the church will also preach the body as well.
Right, and that's why you're terming this the mobile clinic, right?
Exactly.
That's the idea. Well, I mean, which communities are you going to cover and what approach are you necessarily giving to it?
So we'll be in the Dome General area and the Kwabena General area because that is where the church is, headquarters of the church is situated. So just to affect our community. So it will be in Dome and Kwabena.
But for access and those who can benefit from it, is it open to everybody?
It's open to everybody. Everybody. It doesn't matter where you live. Everybody. As long as you find yourself there, you'll be sorted out.
I'm sure that this is running in partnership with your foundation as well, Doc.
Correct. Yes.
So why have you decided to join hands with the church to make this happen?
So with Gold Coast Medical Foundation, we try to reach the communities and we try to reach various communities. Now, sometimes it's easy to get access into the communities through the faith-based organizations, sometimes through significant figures in the community. So that's who we try to partner with, just because the
so it's about reaching more and more people.
Exactly, they trust these the churches, the mosques, the religious organizations. So we go through them to get to the community, just to get the trust of the community members to attend our screening and for them to understand that everything that we do is actually completely free.
Okay, so help us understand this. If someone goes through the screening that you'll be doing, what type of tests are you going to be subjecting them to? Is it a general process or there are some specifics that you're targeting for now?
So we try to cover most of the chronic diseases and then also the infectious diseases. So we screen for the blood pressure, the diabetes. Those are two of the common chronic diseases that are killing most of our population.
Right.
And so we screen those things and then we educate them. Those that are found to have these conditions, we treat them, we initiate treatment and we educate them on lifestyle changes that can help, prevent them from getting worse to the point that they develop any complications from those, and then also educate them on following up frequently with health facilities to follow up with their doctors. And then the infectious diseases that we screen for will be HIV, hepatitis, malaria, and typhoid and those kinds.
Okay, and for Dr. Sarkodie, we know that obviously this is coming at a cost to the church. Yes, you may be doing this for free, but then the costs will definitely be there. Are you open to the idea of having more and more partners, more and more philanthropic organizations coming through just to support the church, partner the church to grow the outreach?
Oh, definitely. Anything that will help the masses, that will help the people. It's out of the people in the country that you find your members. Every church will have its members, every mosque will have its members from the people. So the more you get philanthropic organizations such as his organization coming in, it helps. You will get to reach more people because the more funds you get, the more people you can reach. So definitely it helps.
So which specific organizations are you willing to partner on this?
Any organization at all that is willing to, of course, when I say any organization at all, it has to be an organization with credibility.
Right.
Exactly. We are a church. There are some things, no-go zones for us. So, but any organization, any credible organization that also want to reach out to the masses, that want an opportunity or conduits to get to the masses. Yes, we are available. You can always contact us.
Okay, so let's talk about the days and also those who would be entitled or, having the opportunity to benefit from this. Will they be restricted to membership of the church, or you're just opening this up to everybody?
Not at all. If it's to our members, we probably have done it in church.
Okay.
But we are taking it to the community. So this is basically not even for the members, basically for the community. What we do what we do for our members in-house. But with this one, we are opening it up to the entire community of Domi, entire community of Kwabenya, and its environs. As far as as long as you can get there, it doesn't matter where you live, like I said initially. So it's open to everybody.
But for now, you're situating it within the Domi area?
Yes, Domi and Kwabenya. There are going to be 2 spots, Domi and Kwabenya.
For this year?
Yes.
Do you have that day?
Exactly.
So with Gold Coast, we have 12 sites that we're doing this free clinic. So we've done 2 already. We were in Agomeda.
That's happened already?
Yes.
Right, Yesterday we were in Osu. And so tomorrow we're in Domi. And then Monday we're traveling to Takrady. So we go to different regions in the country. And then the following week we're heading to Kumasi region.
So this is more or less like a nationwide trail. It's moving, and you'll be going to the inner cities trying to get people out there. So, Dr. Sako, if there's a message to send out to people there, why they need to join, particularly within the Domi area, why must people come out and just go through the screening exercise?
The screening is very good. I'm sure you've heard of the adage, prevention is better than cure. Most times, when you have any condition, in our part of the world, if we don't feel pain, we hardly go to the hospital. But there are a lot of the diseases that you will not feel pain. By the time you begin to feel pain, it's virtually too late. So this screening is going to now bring up certain things that is hidden in the body that you probably didn't even know of. So once it is caught up early, it's easy to treat. It's cost effective. Once you get a disease and it's at the end stage, you rather even spend more money. So it is important that the disease is seen early. So the prevention is better than cure is the bottom line of this whole screening thing. So that once we see it, you are probably there in the market, you are not too sure. You don't even know that you are winning plenty. It's probably diabetes, you do not know. You may end up collapsed. By the time they rush you to the hospital, you may or may not survive. So if it is caught early, then you can be advised, like he said, then your life is...
But you know the problem with some Christians, we would like to pray some more before we come to the experts. It normally happens, you know.
Of course. I'm a pastor, I'm a doctor.
Right.
So I can understand. The point is that there's nothing wrong you praying and still going to see your doctor. Okay. There's nothing wrong at all. When you read the book of John, 3 John 1 verse 2, he said, I wish, the King James verse said, I wish above all things. The other verse said, I pray that you do well and your health also. So even scripture is saying now, scripture is saying that no, he wants you to do well. He wants you to have a better life, a good health. So scripture is telling us that no, you have to take that one too seriously. So yes, by all means pray. But by all means see your doctor as well. Right. Because after you have prayed, now the doctor will now prove to you that, okay, no, the thing that was there is gone. So then you can even have your testimony. Right. If you come to and come and tell me that, oh, I had epilepsy, is gone. How do I know it's gone? How do I know you are even lying? So the doctor will prove that, oh, indeed, this was there, it's not there. So by all means pray, but by all means see your physician.
Indeed, they are the experts. And so you are also an expert, Dr. Sarkodie as well. So you know it's good for us. But what message do you have for those who are out there watching and who would want to participate in the exercise?
I always say it's good to join hands in these kind of free screenings. We target those who are less fortunate. And most of the time, these villages that we go to, most of the village members have never been to a hospital. I mean, since they were a child, 20, 30 years, and come to find out they're living with chronic medical conditions, blood pressure, diabetes, cholesterol, which, I mean, can lead to stroke, can lead to a heart attack, and they don't know all these. And we go in and we're checking blood pressures, and we're seeing extremely high numbers, and that's what we try to do. We try to, I mean, identifying one person with a high blood pressure or diabetes, I mean, you're saving a life.
Right. So are you bringing the team from the US with you, or you're working in partnership with some of the Ghanaian doctors as well?
So we do both. So we bring a team of doctors, nurses, students, volunteers from the US, and then we partner with local doctors as well. And we have a handful of doctors from Kolibu, from Rage, that partners with us. And then we do these mobile clinics. We travel from region to region and setting up these free clinics for the community members. So, I mean, I encourage more people to do such things, more organizations out there. We're willing to partner with any organization that is interested in what we do. Any individual that is interested in what we do, if they can volunteer their time, if they're in the health field, even not in the health field, and there are roles that we have for everyone to be able to take part of what we do, and that's what we encourage people to do.
And for those who may not be able to take advantage of the free exercise within their Domi constituency, Domi Kwabena area, where next can they get that opportunity?
So if they're in the Accra region, on next Thursday, we're going to be at Nima. We're going to be in Nima Market, and then.
Oh, that's close to us here.
Yes.
Yes.
And then the Friday we're going to be at Amasamai. Yes.
So these are the two other spots in the Greater Accra region.
No, and then on the 11th we're going to be in Bukom. So we're going to be.
So it looks like a comprehensive plan. You'll be covering the whole of Accra, and that's a good move that you are putting in place. Obviously, we would have to wrap up, but Doc, what will be your final words as we wrap up?
I'll take this opportunity to invite everybody living in and around Domi Kwabena, anybody who it's been a long time, you've been to a hospital, you don't know whether you are suffering from anything, you're in the market, Domi Market, just find your way around and get to the spot. We are not going to charge even a single CD. Just come in, screen, and just go back. So I invite everybody to join us tomorrow, virtually the whole day. Come screen yourself, come see your health level, and we'll be good.
I'm grateful, gentlemen, for joining us here on The Pulse. So here's what you need to know. Christmas is in early. I'll explain to you why that is happening this weekend. It's all coming up here on The Pulse. Please stay. And in fact, everyone here at JoyNews is excited about it. I have two great personalities to talk about something that you need to hear of. Just wait for it. Fred Amugi and Lateef Abubakar are here to talk to us about that play which is coming up this weekend. It's Christmas in May, and it's been going very viral on social media for those of you who are already watching the space, and all of the big celebrities endorsing that program and also sharing the expectations ahead of that great program that we are awaiting. So why Christmas in May? Let's hear from Fred and Lateef. Good afternoon and welcome to The Pulse.
Thank you.
It's good to see you. Uncle Fred, it's been a while.
Yeah, I've been around.
COVID has taken you indoors a bit.
Taking a lot from us, but God being who He is.
And now you are coming as the Santa.
Says who?
I am saying that.
Interesting when people see
because of
my
automatically
they think that he's Santa, but
But I can guarantee you that these two gentlemen are coming with some goodies. So if you're watching us now, be prepared. Something great is coming up. But Lateef, let's start off by talking about Christmas in May. What gave you the idea?
Okay, so exactly. The question is, so when I came up with the title Christmas in May, and then I called Uncle Fred. Right. Usually I consult some elderly people. And the first question he asked is, why Christmas in May? And that's
a big question.
Yeah, that's a big question. I was like, okay, you know what? On the jovial side, Christmas in May because Santa, unfortunately, couldn't distribute all his goodies last December.
Oh.
And waiting for this year's December will be too long because the goods may expire.
Right.
So he's coming in to distribute them in May.
And just giving ahead of time. So it's double package.
Yes. Yeah. And then also my second answer to him, on a more serious note, I was like, you know what? Times are hard. We have challenges in our economy. We have challenges with people facing challenges by themselves. Santa is coming in to give out some goodies, to put smiles on the faces of people, to make people happy, to make families happy, friends happy. And the goodies are not just about comedy or the fun, but in terms of tangible goodies, where we can talk about a weekend stay at Labadi Beach Hotel as part of the gift Santa will be giving. Right. We can talk about chocolates, different type of chocolates. We can talk about tickets, like we'll be giving tickets here on your studio just for people to come and have fun. Right. It's like a whole Christmas season being relived. at the conference center tomorrow and tomorrow next.
Who are we expecting to be there?
Expecting, for me, we're expecting
Certainly he needs to be there. Certainly
but we are expecting corporate Ghana.
Right.
Currently going so well. We are doing 4 shows, and I could say that for sure we have like 80% auditorium filled for all the 4 shows. So it tells you that corporate Ghana is coming in their numbers. I'm sure people are coming as family and friends. It's like a festive season. I mean, the entire environment of Conference Center is been Christmatized, right? That's it. So you have the feel of Christmas, and then I mean you would experience what Christmas feels like in a different season.
Okay, so
just for you to take a breather.
Yeah, right. You know. And Uncle Fred was just about asking why you decided to join the team this time around.
That is my alma mater when it comes to acting, the stage. And when he consulted and said, Uncle Fred, can you be on board? I said, Latif, why not? You just dragged me back to
your early days.
Square one, so I'll pick it. So that's how, we're working together just to get Christmas in May going.
So which means that you'll be on set?
Oh, sure. Yes. I mean, he's performing. Wow. Yeah, he's performing live. Wow. So, I mean, you will see him act, you will see him sing, you will see him dance. And so all the aspects of
which
theater.
One are you trying? Which of the moves are you trying?
Those moves.
And then for us, we also believe in the fact that it's time for us to use the right people for the right roles when it comes to stage. Yeah. Mostly we try to paint people with gray hairs to represent, matured people and so on and so forth. But we're making an effort now to use the right people and to use majority of our elderly people with experience to come back on stage.
Stop making Uncle Fred look like his some
old.
Oh, I'm quite old, my brother.
Yeah.
I've made it.
Yeah. So you are the Santa now. You agree?
Oh. I haven't said that. But I'm part of this.
So on a more serious note, the play tells a story of young guys who had their boss being nabbed.
So that's the story now.
Yes. So they were actually taken towards the path of an unknown.
Okay.
And their boss was being nabbed. They managed to run away. Unfortunately, they ran into another unknown. And so we are here to find out what exactly would happen. What was going to happen.
You need to be there.
Unknowns can be negative, can be positive.
So
the question is, you running away from a negative unknown, entering into another unknown. Is it going to be positive? Is it going to be negative? Be there at the conference center.
What do you have to tell our viewers, those who are asking the question, well, what will I miss if I don't join the team?
One, you miss my stage days if you don't come. That's
very
one.
Important.
Yes. And 2, the fun. I mean, come, let's dance, let's sing together. His plays are music infested, so to speak. And it's not like it's a musical show per se, but, he
comedy, music,
everything is there.
Complete theater. We try to do.
And that is why you should be there. I mean, you don't watch the players enjoy themselves only, but you'll be part of the enjoyment and the fun.
So you're part of it all throughout.
Yes. And for me, what you would miss is we making history.
Okay.
For the first time, you're celebrating Christmas in a different season. In May. And then also, you definitely miss some goodies. The chance to win a weekend stay at Labadi Beach Hotel with your partner. And it's not for just one person. I mean, it's for a number of people. And then also, you miss the fun. This is very, very interesting play. This is our 79th play. 79 performances. And then it's our best so far. So if you've experienced any of our plays, like Something Must Kill a Man and so on and so forth that you mentioned, and you think that was at the peak of our moment, no. You've seen nothing yet. There's more to come.
We've done 78 of it. The 79th definitely and certainly must be good.
Yes,
certainly must be good. So it's a good time to hear from you. Latif has something for you that I can assure you of. But you'd see the numbers on your screens right now for you to call, and then we'll subject you to a little test. Once you go through that, then of course you'll definitely have a ticket to yourself. So 0302 221 169 or 2. So I'll take that again, 0302 221 1691 or 2. These are the numbers on which you can give us a call. It's also on your screens as well. We'll be rolling that for you so that you can give us a call right away if you want to be spending your weekend. The venue again, Latif?
Accra International Conference Center.
That's where it's happening?
Yeah, so and we are doing 2 shows each day on 28th and 29th. That's tomorrow, Saturday, and then Sunday.
Yeah.
We do 2 shows, first show 4 p.m., second show 8 p.m.
So you've heard it. But let's hear from you as well. And let's see who will take that great opportunity. So once more, I'm announcing the phone lines 030-2221 1619 91 actually. That's the, so you have it on your screen. So you follow the prompt there, and then make sure that you give us a call as we await your calls. I would also want to hear from the team as well. Latif, how difficult was it? I mean, coming through with this?
For me, it's always about rehearsals and then the time it takes to perfect a particular play. You know, when it comes to stage plays, when you get on stage, you don't have the opportunity to take it again. You just have to perform straightforward. There's no cut and take. So we need to rehearse for a period of 2 months to get the actors perfect their lines and then shape them properly for the events on Saturday.
Okay then. Fortunately, guess what? Fred is calling from East Legon. So Latif, you're out of this. Let's give this to him. Hello, Fred. Welcome.
Hello.
Yes, Fred. So just hold on. You'll be speaking to Uncle Fred, the senior Fred, who subject you to just a little.
Who says this? He's the younger one. Can't tell.
Right then. Uncle Fred.
Yeah, Fred.
Yes, sir, I can hear you.
Can you mention just one film that you like about me?
One.
Just one film. Hello?
Yes, sir, I can hear you. The last film, I think, with Mauko. I've forgotten the title. Oh, God.
Is it with Mauko?
Wow.
Yes, with Mauko, yes. I even had a casting there.
And you can't remember the title?
Oh, the title. Yeah, my, oh, my.
Oh, my, oh, my. Santa, do some magic.
Are we helping? Are we helping him?
Yeah, I think we should.
I'm just asking him to mention one.
One. Just
one.
Yeah, just one. Fred, you have the final opportunity.
Oh. It's unfortunate. I don't remember the title.
Fred.
So, I mean, just for making this effort, definitely we need to give you one. I'm doing that on my own accord.
Santa is here.
Just for calling.
Yeah, but just for calling, Fred, I'm grateful. You're my first caller, so we're doing that for you.
Thank you.
So let's hear from Morris. But next time, make sure you get the title of the movie. Morris is here from Weja. Morris? Morris, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay, so Latif, take it away.
Morris.
Hello.
Where is the program taking place?
Right.
Conference Center.
That's too easy.
Oh, that's easy.
But anyway,
I feel like being the Santa.
But Morris, we're grateful. Morris, just hold on, our producers will definitely be in touch with you. And do we have a final one? Okay, it appears that we've run out of time, so that's all we need to do for today. But as we go, let me hear from you, Uncle Fred, and then I'll come to Latif.
Well, I would say it will be very nice to be there tomorrow and Sunday. After going to pray in church, definitely the afternoon and the evening will be better for you on Sunday. Come, just relax, have a little fun before going to sleep.
All right. And Latif, your final
and for me, it's about stress releasing. It's about putting smiles, happiness on the faces of family and friends. And that's what we like to do best. If you want to achieve that, Conference Center is the place. If you want to achieve that, join us. Let's celebrate Christmas.
Once more, remind us of the date and the venue.
28th, tomorrow 28th, and then 29th of May. We have 2 shows each day. First show 4 p.m., second show 8 p.m. You can get tickets by dialing *447*1092#. *447*1092#. Thank you very much.
Well, so you've heard it for yourself. Christmas is here in May. You need to be there, definitely. Thanks to Fred Amugi for joining us and also Lateef Abubakar. That's all we have for you here on The Pulse. I'm Blessed Sogah. Log on to myjoyonline.com. We have updates for you there.